Back to the Real Impact Show.
Yes.
I am one of your hosts, Aaron Zapata.
And I am Don Jax. Thanks for being with us on this fine day to talk all things real estate.
All right, the very first question we're going to ask today is this. Who is Nick Stokes, and what does he have to do with the commission lawsuits?
Should we all know who Nick Stokes is? You don't know who Nick Stokes is.
Hey, Nick, if you are listening to this,
Give us a call.
give us a call, and we'll explain more about your name, if you exist, and why we're talking about the name Nick Stokes.
Yeah, we're just going to call them out and see what happens. If anybody can help us find them, that might be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Yes.
So you got your water. I have my Celsius.
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. This will help me talk a whole lot faster than I already talk. So people might have to slow us down.
Maybe, but it's a topic today that we need the energy for.
We do, because you're not an attorney.
I'm not an attorney.
I am not.
I only play one on television.
Do you really?
No, not at all. I don't know why I say that, but it's been something for 20 years. I only play one on TV.
I only play one. Well, okay, that is what it is. Don Jax is not an attorney.
Either is Aaron Zapata.
No, and we are not giving any legal advice today.
Zero dispensing of legal advice.
Yeah.
We're going to try English from now on.
Do you need a Celsius?
It's just water,
You're
I promise.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are talking about the current hot topic among real estate agents, and of course, this show is geared towards real estate agents.
Yes.
And how to make an impact in our world. And let's start with that premise, Todd. Todd is my other co-host on the other podcast show I do.
Don.
It all goes together, right? But what happens in circumstances like this is that agents tend to pull back and not go out to grow their business because they're afraid of what might happen in the industry. We don't want that to happen.
We don't. We're talking about the lawsuits that are going on that have to do with commission. We'll explain it here in a minute. It happens every time panic seems to set in our industry. There's this great retraction of activity, for fear or whatever's going on, and man, there's a lot of that going on right now around these lawsuits.
Yeah, absolutely. And when agents think that there's going to be a major change, they're afraid of making commitments, they're afraid of leading people down the wrong road, and so they just hold back. They stop marketing, they stop prospecting for fear of being accused of doing wrong at some time in the future.
That's right.
But what we're called to do is to take one step at a time and work with what we know today. And until something does change, then we'll change. We just keep doing what we're doing. So if you're listening to this realtor and you are hesitant about prospecting, we want you to listen to this whole show, be educated, but go out and work your tail off, because you will have a competitive advantage over those that still stop working because of the fear.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
No, the solid agents are making a plan in spite of it, around it.
Yeah, and you coach agents that are in and around areas that are greatly affected by this.
Greatly affected in the states where these are being held. These lawsuits are, and they're not letting it define them. They're not letting it stop, and quite frankly, nothing has actually happened that causes us to change the way we're doing things. It's starting to. We're starting to see the trickles of an avalanche, or like when the little rocks start coming down the hillside. Just barely.
Something's happening.
Just barely.
Something we better pay attention. Hence why we're talking about it.
Absolutely. Let's back up. Why don't you set the stage for those? It might be a recap for some of you.
I hope for most of you, if you're listening to the show.
I hope so.
I hope this is a recap.
Yes. But why don't you lay the foundation? What are we even talking about with these lawsuits?
So there was a class action lawsuit that was filed in Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri is where it was held, the court case. And it was some plaintiffs versus the National Association of Realtors et al., which means a bunch of other national firms. There's 5 of them that were named in this first lawsuit. They were able to get class action certification, which means that they're now speaking on behalf of every home seller in America when it talks about this lawsuit. So they sued these name brands and the National Association of Realtors for collusion, working together to artificially inflate and keep commissions high, primarily by making the seller pay for the buyer's agent commission. And that argument played itself out, and the jury found the National Association of Realtors and those that did not exit the lawsuit by just writing a big check, which was 3 of them, I think, wrote a check and got out, and the rest of them were found guilty, and the plaintiffs were awarded $1.8 billion. Billion dollars in damages.
Yes.
And that could be tripled under antitrust laws. So huge ramifications.
Yes.
Within a couple of hours, that same attorney and his firm filed an identical lawsuit.
Filed another one, yes.
Against another set of national brokers. And so, and then we've seen this type of lawsuit pop up with copycat lawsuits all over the country.
All over the country, claiming the same thing.
That's right. And as of right now, I'm not aware of any that are in California.
I'm not aware of anything. I heard a rumor, and I have not had a chance to back it up yet and fact check it, so I don't want to talk about that.
Well, then don't talk about it.
I'm not going to talk about it. You can't
Don't speculate.
Okay, no speculation.
No pontificating. Not here.
Isn't that what we do here? Wait a minute, I'm in the wrong spot.
Hit cancel. All right. Stop
I'm out.
recording. We're done here. Hi, YouTube. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, hopefully you get to see us this time.
Yes.
We've had some technical difficulties in the last shows. If you're on our podcast app listening to us, we want to encourage you to check out our website at realimpactshow.com.
There we go.
Oh,
Very
man,
nice.
it's so hard to write. I don't know if there's anything there yet, though. Did we just throw something up? We probably did. Go to our YouTube channel, because that for sure is there.
That is definitely live.
Yeah, and let us know what you think. Comment. Tell us what you're thinking. We want to know your thoughts on this particular item. And if you're just the general public and you've worked with a realtor, we want to hear your thoughts too. We are definitely interested in learning about what your opinions are.
Yeah.
As we move forward.
Yeah. I think it's real important for us to talk about not, the first domino is falling. We'll see what happens at appeals court. We'll see what happens with the other lawsuits. Nothing concrete has changed in our industry yet, except there is another lawsuit that we were discussing earlier today, actually, where it looks as if it hasn't been decided upon, but they're considering taking the buyer compensation out of the MLS altogether.
Yeah.
Which means there's going to be a different way to get paid as a buyer's agent representing your clients in our industry. Things like that are way more interesting than the lawsuits, whether you agree with them or not. I think, because it's going to somehow or another affect how we do day-to-day business.
Well, and I read this article on Rismedia today, and it said, it's a quote, and it says, to the extent that the home sellers successfully enjoin these foundational NAR rules, ancillary rules, like those additional rules that plaintiffs seek to enjoin will, in all likelihood, fall as well. It's confusing. We have to ask ourselves the question, what in the world does that mean? What is the whole point? Is it just to have the sellers only pay the seller's fees? Is it to get buyers to pay buyers' fees? Is it to properly disclose that? Are people really not aware of what's happening when it comes to paying of commissions? And the argument that was made in the Burnett case was more along the lines of, it's really not fair for the seller to pay the compensation to the agent that's arguing against them.
That's right.
And so all of these different iterations of this lawsuit are popping up, and you should go read this article in Rismedia, and we'll put it in the show notes.
Yes.
That basically says that both home sellers and home buyers are attacking the entire system of the real estate broker compensation. The entire system.
The entire thing.
What do listing agents get paid? What do buyers agents get paid? How they get paid? Everything is under attack.
Yes.
and they want it to change. And if small parts of it change, then that could be the pebble that turns into the avalanche that it all changes.
That's right.
But as of right now, nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. Yeah.
Nothing has changed. So let's talk about the impact that it's having, because you have some agents that work in areas that are greatly affected by this.
Yep.
For us here in Southern California, we're not really seeing much effect.
No, we're not.
Although you and I saw this article, this marketing today, piece of marketing,
Yeah.
that acknowledges the lawsuit and then uses some of the information to create what seems to be a new way of doing business.
That's right.
Appeal.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that too. But let's talk about like what you've seen.
Where I've seen, like in states of like Washington, they've
Yeah.
been dealing with this and had the zero compensation offer out there for a little while now. In
Yeah.
fact, the state of Washington, I think we've talked about this,
Yeah.
just also mandated buyer brokers on every transaction.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. I'm not a big mandate guy, but if everybody's playing on the same field, I think
Okay.
that's not a horrible thing. But the idea of offering zero compensation to the buyer's agent through the MLS has been available in the state of Washington. My understanding is a year and a half, 2 years
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, very few properties go that way because the agents are still able to explain how the system of compensating the buyer's agent to bring the buyer to their property ultimately nets more for the seller at the end of the day and gets more eyeballs on their property, and
Yeah.
eyeballs equal dollars, as
Yeah.
we know. And for the most part, in the 90 percentile plus, probably closer to 95 it seems, they're still doing things the old way. Now, these national lawsuits are gaining attention everywhere.
Everywhere.
People are paying attention.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good time to go into the mailbox is even telling people that these lawsuits are available on a class action basis to get involved with.
Mhm.
You want to share the marketing piece?
Yeah, so after this verdict, the court appointed a legal company the ability to reach out to home sellers all over the country and to let them know that they may be entitled to an award because of this class action settlement. And so at my home yesterday, I got this postcard, and it's right there, Burnett versus the National Association of Realtors, and it says, if you sold a home and paid a commission to a real estate agent, you may be part of class action settlements. And then it sends me to this real estate website. It's got an 800 number that I can call and ask questions. But the problem with this whole this postcard, is it's addressed to Nick Stokes. Nick Stokes does not live at my house.
Has Nick Stokes ever owned that property?
Nick Stokes has never owned my property.
Interesting.
Because I'm in real estate and I have a relationship with a title company, I called the title company. I'm like, hey, would you do a chain of title research?
Yes.
My house was built in the 70s. Has anybody ever named Nick Stokes even owned my home? And they went through and they could not find any trace of a Nick Stokes.
Could have been a tenant at one point, but tenants don't pay commissions.
Yeah, so where in the world did they get this information? I mean, this is like classic waste, in my opinion, right? It's going to a person that never lived there, never owned it, and they're sending out postcards. Now, I've seen the same postcard, exact postcard, not to Nick Stokes, of course, posted by real estate agents in the Real Network.
Yeah, I've seen it on Facebook outside of our network also.
Okay,
Yes.
so agents are getting these all over the country.
Yes.
And they all look the same.
Yes.
And so what's interesting is it says if you receive this postcard, you can log on and see if you are eligible based on this date range. So I had to dig through the paperwork on the website. And I did a little research. I went on the website, I looked at it, there's no clear indicator of where the dates are. So you actually have to read the PDF plaintiff ruling, the court ruling, and it's on page 9 of the court ruling that says these are the dates that apply. And there's 3 different MLSs with 3 different dates, and it says all other MLSs in the entire country is 4 years back. Now I've lived in my house for 20 plus years.
Right.
I know there's no Nick Stokes there. So who are they going after? I don't.
Posted on different places. And there's a company in California that's saying, hey, we'll sell your house for 3.5%.
Yes.
3.5%.
Yes.
Okay. Not 6, not 4, 3.5. And then there is a sentence in there that states that because of recent lawsuits, sellers no longer have to pay the buyer's agent commission, but many of our sellers do elect to pay X amount to buyer's agents. So
As a flat fee.
As a flat fee. So it's 3%, 3.5% plus whatever this flat fee is,
That's
whatever you
right.
choose. And then it goes on to say, but if we represent a buyer on your home, we waive that fee. It's 3.5% all in.
That's right.
Guys, people are going to use this to their advantage.
It's already affecting the day-to-day business. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't, as an agent, you may be listening to this thinking, well, how can they say that? How can they do that? Well, lest you forget, real estate commissions are not fixed by law.
Everything is negotiable in real estate.
It is.
Including commissions.
Right. And because of these changes, there's a good chance that sellers will end up paying more to their listing agent than they have in the past.
Yes.
Because the listing agent is going to be doing a lot more heavy lifting, so to speak, when it comes to marketing and negotiating, especially if there's no buyer's agents. I don't think buyer's agents are ever going to go away. I think you're going to figure out how to earn a commission.
That's right.
And if you are a professional and you're doing a great job in this business, you'll be able to explain to your client why they should hire you.
Yes.
Just like a listing agent explains to a seller why they should hire them. You'll do the same with your buyer, and you'll talk about compensation, and either you will or you will not have a client.
That's right. That's right.
Whether or not you have that explanation, that conversation with your client is going to determine how much you get paid. Because talk about the markets where you have seen zero compensation to the buyers agents.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of that, but where I am, I'm not seeing those buyers go directly to the listing agent.
Okay.
I'm seeing them go on to the next house with their agent. Now, I know that's not going to be everybody.
Right.
It's a phone call to the listing agent.
Right.
I mean, we don't care, but if I go directly to the listing agent and I try to work something out and it doesn't work out, who's going to find me the next house?
Right.
That's up to me too. So
Right.
I think the idea of a buyer calling every listing agent to go see it, that's a little absurd. It could go back there, but it feels like we're going back decades in our industry if we go back that way. And I'm just not seeing it happen yet.
Yeah.
It definitely could.
Well,
But I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
The marketing piece that you were just talking about is using a conversation that's happening about the lawsuits happening, not what's actually happening yet.
right.
Right. Nobody's saying we're taking the buyer's comp the buyer's comp off the table for everything. You don't have to.
Right. And it's in California.
Yeah.
Again, this marketing piece, this company, this team.
Yeah.
And so for that, they're utilizing headlines to create a marketing piece that probably sounds a lot like what a homeowner might think is happening.
Absolutely.
I got a question this week. Wall Street Journal published an article that says, there might be a big win for buyers and sellers here because the real estate industry is basically, under attack.
Yeah.
And he forwarded it to me and said, what are your thoughts? And I said, I think Wall Street Journal's great at making headlines. They're great at writing headlines. They get you to read it. You read through it. Even at the very bottom, it says, not much has changed yet. And so it's like newspapers sell ads and stuff based on eyeballs. So they're going to write intriguing headlines.
That's it. I think what it does for us, though, and like the company we saw that's changing their marketing already.
Yeah.
How do you set yourself apart? What value you bring to the table? What's your plan? This company has a plan, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, whether you agree with it or not. They're all in on it. We saw the piece together. It's happening. And if it's happening here in California where at least the major lawsuits haven't been, man, what else is going on around the country? People are it's going to cause a lot of agents to bail and get fearful instead of creating the plan, really doubling down on the value
Yeah.
and setting yourself apart in a market like this to bring value to clients.
Well, and we have to, as professionals, be able to explain our position, show our value, and get paid for it.
That's right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you can get dentistry work done in other countries for a lot cheaper than you can get it done here. But do you want to? Is
right.
there value
That's right.
in getting it done here? Most people would say yes. There are some people who say absolutely not. I'm
That's right.
flying to that country and doing whatever I have to do because it's so much cheaper.
That's it.
Great. Those are there's going to be times when we have to differentiate our services. I was talking to Don this morning, and we had a mastermind here at my office, and we were just talking about commissions in general. And in the last 12 months, I've actually taken more listings with 3.5% to the listing agent than I have in my entire career. And it begs the question, how can you do that if all commissions are under attack? Well, the reality is if you get good at explaining what you do and what you offer, people will sign up and say, I want that.
Yes.
Now, I've also done listings for 1.5%.
That's right.
Because commissions are not fixed.
That's
Right? And if it was a repeat client or a special circumstances or you need to do it, absolutely. We're going to serve the client.
That's right.
But we have to know how to tell the story about the goods and services we deliver.
Well, that's it. You have to deliver them first and then be able to tell the story of how you deliver them.
Yeah.
And show the case study and provable facts, which you're able to do.
Well, and we're talking to agents here, right? So you and I created a listing presentation.
That's right.
That is mostly pictures.
That's right.
It's got like 2 words per page.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
Because so much of what we do is conversational and relational.
That's right.
And once they like you, know you, trust you, it's less about the words on the page and more about the conversation you're having.
Yeah.
And guess what? When you can prove that you're a professional and explain how commissions work, you're likely to take a commission just like it used to be. Everybody's just informed now.
That's right. That's right. You just have to deliver on the service.
Yeah.
Right. You must. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't BS your way through this.
Right. And you know, when you talk about it that way, you realize that the general public might be listening to this, and if you are, great. We welcome your opinion. You might think that agents are overpaid. You might think that, you know, we're all egomaniacal people that like to drive nice cars and eat at fancy restaurants and argue with other realtors at networking events, right? Because that's what television has led you to believe. But most of us are hardworking. We show up at the office. We work anywhere from 50 to 70 hours a week.
That's right.
Just to put, you know, a meal on the table. We have buyers and sellers that say they're going to work with us. We put time and effort and working into that, and we never get paid. Homes don't sell. We've put money out for marketing that never comes back. We have buyers that said, hey, you're our guy. We love you. You go away on a vacation, or in my case, I went to my grandpa's funeral, came back to the text saying, hey, while you were gone, we found a property. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sent me $1,000. And I had put in like 60 hours worth of work with them. Yeah. I did the math. I'm like, I could go work at McDonald's for more than this. Those things happen to us.
They do.
And so, you know, we have to, we make some big commissions on a certain number of homes, but at the end of the day, those that put in the time and the hours are going to earn a lot of money in real estate.
Yeah. That's it.
Any career that rewards you for performance is going to pay you a lot. All sales positions.
The better you do, the better you are at what you do.
Mahomes gets paid a lot of money.
A lot of money.
He gets paid to perform.
Produce results.
If he doesn't produce results, guess what? He loses his job.
That's right.
Same with realtors.
That's it.
We don't produce, we lose our jobs. Those that do a great job make a ton of money.
There are some, I want to go on the record and say there are some realtors, and I agree with you 97.5% of the way, because there's a few of you out there that are overpaid for the work that you put in. There, I said it. There's a few of them, and you give us, the rest of us, a bad name.
Right.
And Aaron's looking at me. If you're just listening to this, man, I wish you could see you said it. Yes, I said it.
They're watching.
But it's true. And if we don't say it, man, I mean, we're lying to the public and the agents out there.
Yeah.
So that's why I just drilled down on you have to deliver the service. You have to be here for the clients. And I've beat that drum.
I do want to ask this question, because when I was in argumentation and debate, in
Yes.
college.
Yes.
You can argue two different ways. You can debate the supposed fact that was delivered,
Mhm.
or you can debate the supposition behind the fact.
Okay.
Okay. And the supposition is the foundation that whole fact falls apart if the supposition is wrong. So, long story short, the question that I don't think was ever asked in the courtroom, and I think that this is an important thing, because they're basically arguing that it was unfair for the seller to pay the buyer's agent to argue against them. So that guy should not get compensated by the seller to create this true, debate, or this
Right.
true, everybody's working together. So that really can't be true competition. It's not a real negotiation. But at the end of the day, every attorney who argues his case against a defendant, if it's a case like a class action, he gets most of his money if he wins from the opposing side.
That's right.
And it's very similar in my mind to a seller paying the buyer's agent commission. Like, the whole attorney system in this kind of lawsuit is also set up to be compensated by the other party.
100% by results delivered.
Right?
Weirdly, like a real
Yeah.
estate agent.
Yeah. And if you're an agent and you actually followed the whole lawsuit, I'm of the opinion that the attorneys that were hired and the way that it went down was really just missed the mark. They didn't understand the jury,
Agreed.
understand the whole situation, went in there with quite an ego, and just missed it.
Sure seems like it.
Missed
yes.
And not that I could have done any better.
We weren't in.
I'm not
we weren't
signing
in
up
the
for that job.
courtroom.
We weren't there.
We have some thoughts though. If you reach out to us, we have some ideas.
Yeah,
That might be
yeah.
for another episode.
But that whole supposition, like, if he's taking compensation, the attorney firm is taking compensation now from the winnings, isn't that the same as a seller paying a compensation to the buyer?
It would seem to me it is.
I don't know. Just want to throw it out there. So, Nick Stokes, back to you.
If you find Mr. Nick Stokes, please have him give us a call.
Yeah, so if you know who Nick Stokes is, if he ever owned my house or filed some fraudulent recording, that would be interesting. Somebody's like, "Oh, Nick Stokes owns it." What?
That's right.
That would be
That's right.
crazy.
I'm glad you didn't learn that.
Yeah, I'm glad.
There's a lot, and we could go on and on
could.
about this. I guess the overarching message is, whatever happens out of this, what is your plan? What value are you adding? And what are you doing to do the best job for your clients so your commission's not in question?
Yeah.
And right, you getting paid because of the value you bring is a no-brainer, regardless of who's paying it, regardless if we're just moving the commission around in what it's called. That's just semantics, right? We'll figure that part out. What are you doing to earn the right to charge that money? I believe is the true testament to who survives in this business because of this.
Well, and we're in a capitalistic society. You know, you can go down and you can
Still?
buy. Yeah.
Still,
Yeah,
yes, still.
Yeah. You can buy the cheapest car that you want from
You
the
absolutely
cheapest
can.
dealer in town. It may not be a great car, but it's still going to get you from A to B. But you can't, fault the guy who's got the money who wants to go buy the luxury car to take the same route.
No.
There's nothing wrong with either one of those. But the person that's going to get paid in this business to continuing to is the one that explains the value.
That's right. There's been the for sale by owner help models
Absolutely.
for the last 30 years that I've been around, at least. I'm sure they were around before that. People have to decide, do I want pick and save or do I want the quality?
That's right.
System, process, and outcome through it all.
Don, you do coaching. I do training. If anybody wants to reach out to us for some personal conversations, you guys should do that. Reach out to us. Follow us on our Instagram accounts. Yeah. Send us direct messages. That's the best way to get a hold of us is through our Instagram. Your Instagram is
Coach Don Jacks.
And mine is Aaron Zapata.
Pretty simple to find us. Yes. Ron.
Zapata. I got lots of A's in my name. So find us on social media. Send us some messages. We'd love to connect with you. If you're struggling with how to move forward based on these things that are going on as an agent, man, we want to talk to you. We want to counsel you. We want to get you through that so that you can go on to make a dramatic impact in your own life, in the life of your family, and in the life of your community. And you can't do that by playing small. You can't do that by living in fear. And so we want to help you get through that.
Yes, sir. It's what we do around here. It's how we roll.
Thanks for giving us your time today. We
Appreciate
hope
you.
that you come back next time. We are excited that we continue to have these shows for you, and we look forward to hearing from you next time.
Keep elevating your game day by day. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.
God bless.